Hello everyone, my name's David. I'm a mechanic at a golf course. I want to talk to you today about some of the equipment that I use every day, namely pullers and bearings. This is one of the things I cannot be without, and everybody that works at a course should have this. Okay, I'll quickly give you an idea what it is. It's a blind hole puller. Okay. It's basically does the same job as a lag bolt. When you screw a lag bolt in, the screw, it widens it out, makes it larger, and that's exactly what these mandrels do. There's 8 different sizes of them, and one of the jobs I'd use them on is to remove a bearing. This is actually off the front of a club car, a wheel hub. And without using something like this, you'd be forced to have to try to MacGyver it and use a hammer and a punch. But with that tool, you can do this job in less than 2 minutes. Fasten it to the vise, grab your slide hammer. I already know that this is the one I need. Screw it on most of the way so that you get lots of thread. Put it into the bearing. Okay, it's in. Now all I have to do is tighten it up, and I'm expanding that just like I did with the lag bolt. Okay, it's just about all the way there. Now I'm going to tighten it the rest of the way. In there, very secure. I don't want to pull this one out. It's a brand new one. But anyway, about 3 hits of this and that bearing will be pulled out, and then I'll grab a new one and put it back in. When I put it back in, I have a selection of sockets. I find that they work the best. Get the one that just fits over the outer edge of the bearing. Never ever use a drift and hit on the inside of the bearing. You can damage the bearing. Okay? So all told, about 2 minutes, you have to have this tool. Another thing that I'll do on a daily basis, this is a roller off a fairway machine. Just about every fairway machine or grass cutting machine has a roller similar to this, and every roller has to have a bearing in it. I call this one a water pump bearing, okay? Or you can have other bearings that are like a car bearing with a separate bearing and a separate race, and you'll have to get that race out, okay? Now interestingly, when I started, the guy I was taking over from said, David, don't worry about these. If they're a little bit loose, it's still okay. But that's far from the truth. And I'll tell you why. You wouldn't build a house with a bad foundation that's already twisted, and you know what you're going to wind up with. The same thing with these. I would check these daily would be the best. Definitely once a week to make sure that there's no play in these bearings. Okay? If there's play in it and you don't get to it too soon or in time, you're going to have a big problem, and you'll find that this stub will pull right out. But don't worry, all isn't lost, because as long as you have the blind hole puller with this out, you can find one of those mandrels that will fit inside. But your best, as soon as you start to get any play in these, remove it, okay? And I'll show you the other tool that you simply have to have that will make your life so easy, is this. You can see there's 2 holes on here, okay? One there and one there. You ask yourself, what's the purpose of that hole? Well, this is the puller that you're going to use, and it's going to make your life easier. And it's got 2 bolts, okay? You're going to place it on there, line it up, so that these bolts go into those two holes securely. Tighten it up, okay? You don't have to kill it, but make sure you get it tight. Okay, nice and tight. You have two choices. You can either use your wrench and wind it out, or what I always use is I just use my impact gun and maybe 5 seconds that'll screw in and it'll pull it right out and you're off to the races. With the other one, again, just find yourself an appropriate socket and drive it in. Now, I want you to think about this. Going back to the guy that tried to train me and he said, don't worry if they're a little bit loose. Well, think about it this way. When you're setting the grass cutting height on a reel, you're using a dial indicator and you're setting it to within 1/1000th of an inch because you want the best cut. If you've got 1/8 of an inch of play in this bearing, you've lost everything, okay? You can't get that. There's no sense in even trying to use the dial indicator. And the same when you're grinding the reels. If you've got any kind of slop in here, it's going to throw everything off when you're grinding. So do yourself a favor. Sure, it might cost $5 to replace a bearing, but do it, okay? So I hope you appreciated that. If you want to hear any more of my little tips that might help you, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.